Hey everybody, welcome to the ATDev Podcast. I'm so happy to be joined today by a longtime friend and collaborator, Corten Singer. Hey Corten, how you doing?
I'm doing well, and I'm just super happy to also be here and be a part of it and to hang with you again after so many years. But yeah, thank you, and I'm excited to chat a little bit about some assistive technology.
Yeah, me too. And that is where our story started back at UC Berkeley in 2015, maybe,
Probably
doing some hackathons.
that's right. Yeah, go Bears, go Bears.
Yep. Yeah, maybe we could start there. So um, actually, before we do that, could you just give a little background on your intro?
Yeah. As Owen mentioned, I'm Corten Singer. I am originally from San Diego, but we had met when we were both at Cal. I went up there to study about computers and about us humans, and getting a degree in computer science and cognitive science really let me explore that intersection of how we humans use computers and what that relationship really looks like and what options are out there in the world. And so I think just from an early age, I've always been interested in, just connection, making the most of the world that we have, and also being at Cal, realizing, hey, we can use some of the power and awesomeness of technology to really amplify and bring out these solutions for everyone, not just the average typical user, but also those who don't use traditional means of input. And I think a big part of my background and trajectory too is not just having that technological and human fascination, but having some exposure, I think, to the world of disability. Having a cousin, Nico, shout out, who was also at Cal with us,
Yeah,
who had an accident and became bound to a wheelchair. It happens, and people, I think, can really benefit from just knowing more about that and seeing what is needed in the world, what can be improved, and for those interested minds that you can apply your degree. Luckily, as I found myself to be there, it was a no-brainer, if you will, to just try to combine and work in not just human computer interaction but assistive technology. And that's, I think, actually where we met each other through, I don't know if it was like the disabled students program, specifically Enable Tech. I forget exactly what was
y-
it that we first met.
yeah. I think it was some sort of hackathon, and I think that's a lot of people's first intros into assistive technology is through a hackathon or something like that. And that was something that I really enjoyed doing as a student at Berkeley. And I think I remember we were trying to automate my apartment as much as possible.
That's right. That's right. I do remember that. That was a pretty epic hackathon. We did a bunch of things. Made the door automation opening, the popcorn.
Yeah, the popcorn machine.
But shout out to just Cal for doing well to bring that student sort of community together, because I really think, like you said, at a hackathon, being exposed in a way almost that you weren't expecting to something that is super important, and having the mixture of student body there, the awesome DSP program. I'm just super grateful because
Yeah.
I don't know, have a richer life as a result.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it probably informed your career to a large extent in some way.
Oh, hugely, especially in the way that we actually met face to face at the event, doing the hackathon, working hand in hand with the user, with the human in the loop, getting the actual
Yeah.
need knower to contribute to the design. So it's not just some engineer thinking they have the solution and going totally the wrong direction.
Yeah, absolutely. So to that end, I am a huge fan of your company Augmental and the mouse pad. Would you mind talking a little bit more about what
Yeah.
you guys are working on?
Yeah, super happy to do that. Yeah, after my sort of intro background bit of being at Cal and falling in love with assistive technology, I also became great friends with my co-founder, Tomas Vega, who is not here today, but in spirit, he's here. And we really wanted to explore the options that were out there. We tried eye tracking, muscle detection activity, EEG electrodes on the head. Tomas even went to work at Neuralink for a bit. And so really just trying everything out there. And we always felt we didn't know what it was, but there could be something more. And it was almost like a joke, I thought, when we were younger. Yeah, we'll do it ourselves. But sure enough, when we both graduated from, I was at Cal for my master's, he was at MIT, we had an opportunity to do something a sort of venture of our own, if you will. And it came, this concept of our company, Augmental, from actually Tomas's research, which stayed in that realm of human computer interaction. He was studying how you could use the jaw to interact with machines if that was your only degree of freedom that you were able to control. And it was just one step closer in to the tongue that we got excited about. And before I go too crazy on that, what we have created is Augmental. We are working on our first product, which is the mouth pad. I actually have my device here. I could just kind of show it on camera, at least for a moment. You won't really get to
Uh,
see what it does so easily.
we're not recording video.
Oh, okay, you're not recording video. Oh, my bad. Oh,
Sorry.
yeah, no worries. Never mind.
We'll
You
put
can
a
go,
link. We'll
yeah,
put a link.
yeah, we'll drop the link. Sorry about that. We'll drop the link, and you can definitely go to our website. There's videos from a user testimonial. There's photos you can check out. We have social media that's linked there. You'll get the sense of it. But in words, if you will, we were really excited about the mouth and the tongue in particular, which we called the 11th finger, if you will, because the
Ah,
tongue, for those who have the ability to move it, is really capable, innately dexterous, able to move around the tongue with ease and precision. And you can think as an example of just speaking. My tongue is really moving in these crazy positions pretty rapidly without much thought and effort or fatigue. And so we saw some immense potential, if you will, in trying to capture the tongue as an input. And that's what led to our first product. We call it the mouth pad. And it's essentially a dental splint. You can think of like an Invisalign clear retainer mixed with a Bluetooth mouse. So it's just got the hardware inside of that retainer so that your tongue and mouth can operate your computer, your smartphone or tablet as you would with a mouse or pointing device.
that is so fascinating. And obviously something near and dear to my own passions. And what I really love about what you guys are doing is you're trying to maximize the amount of input from a limited output.
Yeah, 100%. We're champions of digital expressivity if we can make it happen. We think that there is a lot of power in the digital world to interact with the internet, your smart home, your work computer, whatever it might be. And if we can, our goal is to leverage the fact that the mouth has not just the tongue, but also the ability to move your head, the ability to apply the tongue with pressure, like a sip and puff, if you will, which you can do with your breath. So trying to really just capture this input environment, this dynamic space that has the option, if you will, to allow the user to decide how best is the right way to use this input with the mouth. It might be head tracking for some user. It might be the tongue tracking for other users. It might be a hybrid. And we don't want to define that ourselves. We want to make a platform that allows users to define that themselves.
And I think that goes a lot back to the human-centered design is meeting the user where they are rather than asking them to meet your technology where it is.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Owen. And it's something that I think we see, sadly, a little bit too often in existing solutions that kind of give the feeling that they're just good enough, but not necessarily preferred or great or ideal. And I don't think we need to stop short of that. We're
Yeah,
eager at Augmental to really push that button.
yeah, absolutely. And another thing I love about you guys are doing, I feel like there's a new wave of assistive technology companies that are happening right now, and I think a lot of them are, as we said, a lot more user centric, but also just they're a lot easier to use. For
Mhm.
example, when I look at my wheelchair right now, the menus and everything is very limited. And frankly, it was probably designed for someone that's using a sip and puff only, which is very important. But the the sphere of user interaction is so much bigger to that, and the sphere of disability is a lot larger. And I think what you guys are doing is just a great example of what is possible with assistive technology and how it can be used in a, frankly, just more visually appealing way. What you
Totally.
guys are doing is very cool looking.
Yeah, like we don't think that assistive technology needs to look like a clunky hospital tool. It can look sexy so that even your average typical consumer is interested and curious as to, hey, what's that sort of thing going on? And we think technology can be cool, it can be sexy and sleek, but I think what we've seen with assistive technology is just a residue, if you will, sorry, of the history of just maybe even how we look at disability as a society. And in the past,
Yeah.
there was just a lot less attention and a lot less funding and rights and resources, just anything for folks in the disability community. And perhaps we're seeing this arc, this slow trend in the right direction that now we're, with the boom of tech, able to see a little flourishing moment of more awesome ideas and awesome entrepreneurs coming out with stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's definitely a democratization element where tech is easier to develop, although there are still obviously a lot of barriers, a lot of them necessary, like the FDA for
Mhm.
making sure that things are safe, but it is easier to develop things. I'm curious, what was your customer discovery process like, and how did you design what you're making in a way that is so user centric?
Yeah, it really starts from that same vein of the hackathon approach. Straight up, we did series of hackathons within Augmental. We started out by first thinking of the idea, thinking, hey, there could be something here. Let's try to just make some type of prototype as quick as we can so that we could put it in front of someone to critique and give us feedback. And that's essentially the route we took. We made the first thing, started to consult friends or consultants in the area who were either familiar with the disability community or members of the community themselves to just give early feedback. And then the very sort of first functional device that could actually be put into a mouth and touched with a tongue and to do something, we went to our friend Rocky No Hands. Actually, he's a video game
Oh yeah,
and
big streamer.
yeah, big streamer. He uses a quad stick, super skilled. One of the, I believe, the first quadriplegic professional e-gamer to be picked up. I think it was Luminosity's team. And so we were just blown away
So
when we
cool.
saw him like on social media as, wow, this guy's badass. And then clicked as like, well, this guy might be the best mouth-based operator that we can think of to give us a try and give us feedback if he's willing. And he even nicknames himself the Oral Assassin. So we felt it was pretty appropriate. And yeah, he was gracious enough. We said, hey, we got some tech for you. We'd love to essentially give you two joysticks. He had the quad stick joystick for aiming and moving, but he had to mode switch between moving and aiming, strafing his character around the environment and aiming his gun at his opponent. And so what we wanted to do was say, hey, use that normal joystick for your precision, for your aiming, what you're really good at, and then use our device inside the mouth at the same time, kind of a pat your belly, the rub your belly, pat your head, like simultaneous crazy thing.
Right.
But he was really skilled and really able to pick that up. And within the first couple of days, he could go online and kill enemy opponents like pretty easily. And so yeah, he invited us to his home. We stayed in his sort of basement for a week, and that was a really big step for our earliest product sort of advancement. And then from there, we felt it was good enough to branch out to maybe less technical tongue users and get their feedback. And we just kind of branched from there, from batches of people till it got more and more, I don't know, polished and usable until we're here today.
That is so interesting. A cool origin story.
Yeah, we're lucky. It's been fun.
That's great. And so, more broadly speaking, what technology are you excited about right now? I think, yeah, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about AI
Of
in
course.
some way.
Of
How
course.
is that fitting into your paradigm?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. Definitely exciting. And I'm also, I think, a healthy skeptic. So you got to be aware of the good and the bad, but really exciting stuff that can be enabled as a result of this. Yeah, I think as far as it pertains to augmental specifically, of course, we have already some baked in AI and machine learning algorithms to help process our sensors and the tongue detection. But the big one that's coming and we've seen lately is just boom with LLMs and these kind of chatbot models that we see. And I think our most impactful difference that will be made with the result of AI is our future product that we're actually working on right now. It's a little bit of R&D. Our current product acts as a Bluetooth mouse, literally just a Bluetooth mouse. You wear it in the mouth and It's a new form factor, but it isn't much different than what you'd expect from your trackpad or a normal off the shelf mouse. But what we want to do is also create a keyboard with our device. So we want to tackle the speech to text problem because we're so close to the source, and we can take a lot of this AI advancement and use it to really decipher speech as clearly as possible. There's no issue in this sense where your Alexa's across the room and you have to yell to it, or there's two Alexas in your house and both going off, or a myriad of things. Maybe you're in a loud environment and you can't be heard across the room. This is in the mouth, and it, with the advancements of AI, LLM, speech, and natural language processing, we want to incorporate whisper speech and even eventually silent speech completely to really just make it a lot easier for users to input text, almost as if they were talking, but still having the option for privacy so that not everybody can listen in and just hear what you're typing, what your password is, what text you're sending, etc. And so this is our big push. We want to also excite investors with this advancement too, because it can change that holy grail of speech as an input, make it less awkward for everyone, not just be an assistive solution for those who need lower volume input, but even those workers around the world that are just constrained by the context they're in and need a little bit more privacy, if you will.
That's so cool. And you've definitely intrigued and excited me. I think that's a really exciting application. And from my own personal experience, I've been really impressed by the speech recognition of a lot of the AI models. I have a somewhat unique voice,
Sure.
and in I've been using speech recognition for probably 20 years and have always had so many frustrations of having to train it
Yeah.
to adapt to my voice. And it never really worked until about 3 or 4 years ago. It finally started working with a lot of training.
Hmm.
But now, with some of these AI models, there's no training required.
Which
It
is
just works.
what do you use out of just curiosity as your best tool for that?
Yeah, so primarily ChatGPT, although I have been developing some local models just on my own hardware. I'm a big fan of running things locally as much as possible. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about some things like LM Studio or Olama that can run some of these things locally.
Okay, yeah, no, and just another, not even like a plug or anything, but just another detail that we see as an opportunity in Augmental is to
Hmm.
also not just incorporate those advancements, complement them with this stream of sensors that we have in the mouth. We have pressure sensors, how much your tongue is pressing, where the tongue is landing when you're enunciating, motion sensors to get those precise gestural movements as your mouth really makes those vocal movements. And our whole goal is to capture that fact that you mentioned. You said you got a unique voice. A lot of us do. Even my co-founder, he's just Peruvian. He's got an accent, and
Right.
there's a classic story. He was an intern at Apple one year, and he was presenting to one of his prototypes to the big top guys, and he was working on the Siri team, and he tried to introduce himself through Siri, and he said, "Hello, I'm Tomas," and it translated to "Hello, dumbass," and that sucks. That's a bummer. That's just not how it should be.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, I don't want to knock it any more than we need to. It's been improving, and it's a great trend to see, and one we want to really ride that wave with.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you bring up a really good point about sensors being so important. And we talk a lot about this ATDev is that right now there are a finite amount of sensors that are able to collect data on the human body. And as we develop new technologies that are able to collect new types of data on the body or around the body, that data is going to become more and more valuable
Totally.
as no one else is able to collect it.
Yeah, no, totally. And that's something we're looking more future forward with our product line as well. We've nailed, in some sense, a really tricky biological form factor to adhere to and to work with and to get sensors easily positioned in. And we want to try to expand on this. And exactly to your point, see how can we facilitate this data collection that should improve our experience. Nothing like, hey, Big Brother's watching your every move, but no, just the contextual cues and assists that make these systems truly seamless, truly helpful, instead of like just almost good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Corten,
Of
and
course.
really appreciate your insights. Where can people go to learn more about you and Augmental?
Yes, thank you so much. And it's really a pleasure to be here. It's so cool that you even have this podcast going. I love it. I respect it. And I'm honored to be a part of it. But yeah, as far as if you want to learn more about Augmental, you can visit our website or Google our name, but it is www.augmental.tech. So that is like augment and mental put into one word, augmental tech as in technology. And from there, you can see our social media, YouTube videos, et cetera, et cetera.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Corten, and thanks for listening, everybody, and stay tuned for the next one.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.